Okay, this is Jacob Schmidt with DeerHuntingSchool.com. In this video here, I'm going to talk about baiting, a potential problem with it, and just kind of give you some insight on it, and ways that you can help the potential problem if you live in certain areas where it causes the problem that I'm going to talk about. First of all, I'm just going to tell you what brought this to my attention. I got thinking about it. Is the other day, just a few days ago, I woke up in the morning and pulled up our state temperature map, and I looked, and there were places in Arkansas here that were -1, -2, -3 degrees, right in that temperature range. Now you may be thinking, well, that's no big deal, and to a lot of you guys, it's not. -1, -2, just right below. Around that area, that temperature range is not a big deal. Okay, and even here it's not such a big deal for the deer. Yeah, they're not used to that cold, but I don't think it's going to present too much of a problem for them because of the way our environment and stuff is. Now, me saying that, you guys that it's not a big deal with, that live up in the northern U.S. and things like that, guys, during that time when we had them temperatures, you guys had colder than -20s, okay? Now that kind of temperature is a lot of stress for deer. We had -20 wind chills. I would imagine many of you places had around -60 wind chills or colder, okay? Them kind of temperatures, them kind of harsh conditions are definitely the type of conditions that deer can put a serious stress on deer. Now, you may be asking, what in the world does this have to do with baiting? And I'm fixing to tell you. What it has to do with baiting is when you are baiting and when you a feeder, bait piles, whatever, you are attracting deer to an area. Okay, deer are browsers. They will browse the area. Okay, and they'll over-browse the area around your bait station. Okay. Potentially causing harm to the environment and stuff, but that we're not going to get into that. That's way beyond what we're talking about. But they'll over-browse. Basically, they'll eat all the food around in the area. Okay. Now, what the problem is with the deer that are susceptible to this. Okay, it's basically going to be your younger deer, maybe a few does that their mothers got killed or whatever during the season. Maybe she got run over, whatever the case is, but they're basically left alone. They don't know how to adapt to the changing weather conditions and stuff and the changing food sources. Now, the ones that are probably the most susceptible to the problem that it presents are the button bucks, and the reason for that is during the rut. When the rut kicks in, the does run them off, basically leaving them to fend for themselves. Okay, so what do? They're naive. And they just go out and they're eating on whatever and kind of figuring out life on their own. And what do? He, being a young deer, he finds, corn feeder. And hey, there's food here, magic. There's golden nuggets. It just falls out of there. He doesn't know any better. So what does he do? To him, it's a food source. Well, the food source continuously comes, so he's attracted to that area. He feeds and stuff along with the other deer on the browse. That some of the deer will come in, and what happens is, a lot of times hunting season ends and the guys go out, pulls his feeder up or stop putting food in it, whatever, and usually about that time is when you start getting these really harsh conditions, like we just had not too long ago. Okay, these super cold weather here in Arkansas. We really don't have this problem, because we don't have them type of conditions. Deer, really, as far as weather goes, they've got it made other than basically the summertime or some floods. I mean, our summers are harsh, but it's nothing, deadly to deer. Maybe some drought, stuff like that has an effect on them. I'm sure you guys have that problem too sometimes. But really, we have nice weather. The deer can, we don't have a bunch of snow, stuff like that, that the deer, that's harmful to them, things like that. But you guys in northern states, the deer have to go through severe winters. And the problem with the button buck, okay, or the button bucks, your future monster bucks that you dream about, the problem with them is they don't know any better. They've never survived through a winter. they can see that area as food. Well, the problem is all the other deer, including him, have overbrowsed all the way around this area. Well, when that bait is pulled up, that bait station, or is not put in there anymore after deer season, right at about that time it all hits this super bad weather, that deer is left alone, attracted to an area that there's no food hardly. Okay? There's no food there hardly because the deer have come in, they feed at the bait station and browse all around. That's the way deer do. You can't change it. They browse their area, they overbrowse it, they leave no food in that area. Okay? And without him knowing where to move, to adapt, okay, to go find other food, because he's never lived, he hasn't found other food sources. So he's basically left with, 60 below temperatures. His body is burning a bunch of carbohydrates because he's having to stay warm, and his food source is gone. Okay, because you took up your food and didn't feed him no more. And what happens to him? He gets stressed. A lot of times they'll die, freeze to death, die of starvation. Pretty rough deal. Now, is there ways to prevent that? Yes, there are ways. One, you can not bait in the first place if you don't want to. I don't have a problem with people baiting. I don't particularly bait. It's legal in my state. I know a lot about it. I know a lot of strategies about how to bait to really help your success rate, stuff like that. And guys, there's going to be more videos and stuff on it. I don't have a problem with you baiting. I don't think it's unethical by any means, things like that. I do think that you need to use a little caution with it, especially when you live in areas like I'm talking about. And what can you do to avoid it? Like I said, you can not bait, which, that's kind of bluntly, boldly, you don't have to do that. There's other things you can do. What else can you do? You can continue to bait. Continue to fill that feeder up. Now, another thing you can do is you continue to fill the feeder up, of course, and crank that dude up. Crank your feeders up. Put out more food during that time. You're not trying to track the deer any longer. You're not trying to make the scarcity, hey, I got to get there first and get the food before it runs out. You've got, you're trying to feed the deer, get them to survive through the tough winter, give them some extra food. It may be just enough food to keep them button bucks alive that you've been seeing all year long coming to that bait station. Maybe enough to keep him alive where he gets that extra age on him, where now he's not so susceptible to the weather no more. He's found some other food sources and stuff as he wanders out through his life, okay? He's older, he's not going to be as susceptible to the deer. It may even be enough food to keep a few other deer, a little more healthy through the winter. What else can you do? Feed a high carbohydrate food. That's what the deer are going to need during that time. They need them carbohydrates because they're burning a lot of them to try to keep their bodies warm during that cold weather. Okay. Another thing you can do is put your feeders and stuff in areas where deer are naturally feeding. Kind of doesn't make any sense to do that, but because the deer are going to be there anyways because there's natural food sources there. So you can do that though. Put your feeders close to areas and things where they're going to, have a lot of natural food source during that time of the year, during that winter time of the year that the deer can go to. Other things you can do, obviously plant some, put some food plots and stuff in for that time of year to help that deer around that area, okay? There's several things you can do if you're aware of it. The main reason I make this video is because I think a lot of people aren't aware of that. That's what happens. The deer will overbrowse around that, and your more susceptible deer are left with no food once the feeder's gone, and they're in a very stressful time period usually when that happens, okay? So just be mindful of it. Like I said, I'm not against anybody baiting. I'm not against anybody using any type of legal method of hunting to take deer. I think that we're all here for a purpose. The way I do things doesn't necessarily have to be the way you do things. Now I have some very good strategies to help kill deer and things like that that you can implement into your hunting strategy. I know some of you guys are going to think that I'm over thinking stuff and not really. I do see guys that I think overthink stuff and they're very successful. And things like that. But I have, lots of hunting strategies and stuff like that can really help you, that really, will help you, harvest more deer and stuff like that. I just wanted to make this video here so that you're aware of what's going on. Just a little bit of extra planning, maybe just a little bit of extra food during them stressful times. Go ahead and feed them deer throughout the harsh periods, so that they, do have that food. And guys, a lot of people that are non-hunters, this is a huge problem with people that are non-hunters, because they feed the deer and stuff, and they're attracting deer, especially in subdivisions and stuff. They're attracting deer into their neighborhoods, and what happens is they leave these deer highly susceptible to starvation because they're not even hunted deer. And guys, at least we are hunters, to where we're, keeping the population to a balance, to where we're not attracting a whole bunch of overpopulated deer to an area that, that don't have enough food, like you see a lot of the animal rights activists doing, and how we're so cruel and stuff like that. At least we do, think enough to watch a video like this here and say, hey, you know what? That's educational. That's something I never thought about. As hunters, them are the type of things that that we, that we do. So at least we are, as hunters, I give us more, we have more dignity than that. You know what I'm saying? Because really and truthfully, no one cares about the deer more than we do. And at least me anyways, I love deer. And I'm sure 99% of you guys watching the video that are hunters love deer too. And then you have these animal rights activists that think they love deer. They like seeing them, they're pretty, but they don't study deer like we do. They don't love them like we do. We know that, they have to be kept in a balance and stuff like that. So at least you are doing your part as being a hunter, and I just wanted to make the video so that, you guys are aware of that, because I think it's overlooked, and I stumbled across it on several years ago, and got to really thinking about it, and just, never thought any more about it, because it's really, I don't bait, so it doesn't bother me, but wanted to share it with you guys. So hope you enjoyed the video. Just, basically, wanted to let you guys know and be aware of that, like I said already. But, check out deerhuntingschool.com for more tips, information, things like that on deer hunting. Guys, I have several educational resources that you can take advantage of on the site, that'll really help you out as far as hunting strategies, things like that. Have live classes, several things, guys, that can help you out. So anyways, like I said, hope you enjoyed the video. This is Jacob Schmidt with deerhuntingschool.com. Have a good day, and bye-bye.